Section 1. The Myth and the Magic of Halloween. Myth. Halloween is an ancient satanic holiday. Fact. It began as a Celtic festival marking the end of the harvest. This simple truth often gets lost in the fog, doesn't it? Like a ghost story told around a campfire, the tale of Halloween has been twisted and turned over the centuries. It's a holiday that feels both ancient and brand new all at once. We see it in the flickering smiles of jack-o'-lanterns on porches and in the excited whispers of children deciding on their costumes. We feel its pull in the crisp autumn air, a sense of magic hanging just out of reach, promising mischief and sweet rewards for a single special night of the year. The questions about this night are as numerous as the stars on a clear October sky. Where did it all begin? Was it truly born from a single place at a single time? Or is it more like a river fed by many small streams of tradition from different cultures across history? We wonder why we carve pumpkins, why we dress up as ghouls, why we dress up as superheroes, trick or treat, and why we tell our children it's perfectly fine to ask strangers for candy. These traditions feel so deeply ingrained in our modern world, yet their origins seem to stretch back into a time we can barely imagine, a time of spirits, seasons, and survival. This holiday is a curious tapestry, woven with threads of pagan ritual, Christian observance, and good old-fashioned American commercialism. It's a night when the veil between worlds is said to be at its thinnest, a time when anything feels possible. But how much of what we believe about Halloween is real? And how much is just a story we've come to love? The myths surrounding it are powerful, painting pictures of dark rituals and sinister plots. They are stories that are, frankly, more exciting than the simple truth of a harvest festival, which is perhaps why they have survived for so long. Our journey together will be one of discovery. We're going to peel back the layers of myth that have clung to Halloween like a shroud. We'll look at the simple history of where it came from and how it grew. Think of it as a guided tour through time, starting with ancient bonfires in the Celtic world and ending with the best places to find a good scare today. We won't just be looking at the past, we'll also be exploring the present, finding the most wonderful places to celebrate this strange and beautiful holiday in our modern world. Section 2. Unmasking the Past, Finding the Fun. Our approach will be a straightforward one, like following a well-lit path through a dark wood. We won't get tangled in complicated academic debates or dense historical texts. Instead, we'll walk through the story of Halloween step by step, using simple language and clear examples. We will begin at the very beginning, with the ancient Celts and their festival of Samhain. We'll explore how they saw the world, a world where the changing of the seasons was a matter of life and death, and where honoring the spirits of the departed was a sacred duty, not a spooky game. From there, our path will lead us through the pages of history, watching as new cultures add their own traditions to the mix. We will see how the Romans brought their own festivals for the dead, and later how the Christian Church tried to reshape these ancient pagan customs into its own holy days, like All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. It's a fascinating story of blending and borrowing, where old beliefs didn't simply disappear, but were instead given new names and new meanings. We'll see how a night for honoring ancestors slowly transformed into a night of costumes and pranks. Of course, no exploration of Halloween would be complete without tackling the myths head-on. We will dedicate a part of our journey to separating fact from fiction. Is it really the devil's birthday? Did people actually poison candy? We will look at these persistent rumors and find out where they came from, why they spread, and what the real truth is. Understanding how these myths were born is just as important as understanding the history itself, because it tells us a lot about our own fears and how stories can take on a life of their own. Finally, after we've unmasked the past, we'll turn our attention to the present. For those of us who love the thrill of Halloween, the question is always, where can we go to experience it at its best? We'll investigate the claim made by a small town in Minnesota to be the Halloween capital of the world, and, we'll also travel in spirit to other famous spooky destinations, from Salem to Sleepy Hollow. This essay will be your guide, not just to the history of Halloween, but to the best ways you can go out and make your own memories on this most magical of nights. Table of Contents, Part 2, Act 1, Origins and Early History, about 6 sections. Section 1, The Heart of the Harvest, Samhain. Section 2, A Night Between Worlds. Section 3, The Roman Connection, Feralia, Pomona. Section 4, A New Faith, an Old Tradition. Section 5, The Naming of the Night. Section 6, The Weaving of Worlds. Section 1, The Heart of the Harvest, Samhain. To find the true beginning of Halloween, we must travel back in time. Not just a few hundred years, but more than 2,000. We journey to the misty green lands of ancient Ireland, Scotland, the Isle of Man. Here lived the Celts, a people whose lives were deeply connected to the earth and its cycles. For them, the year was divided into 2 halves, a time of light and a time of darkness. The festival that marked the end of the light half and the beginning of the dark was called Samhain, pronounced Sa-win. This was not a celebration of evil, but a profound recognition of the changing seasons. It was the end of the harvest, a time of great importance for an agricultural people. Samhain was the most significant of the 4 major Celtic fire festivals. It marked the end of summer and the storing of the harvest, the time when the cattle were brought in from the high pastures to the safety of the lowlands for the winter. This transition was a matter of survival. A good harvest meant life through the long, cold months ahead. A poor one could mean hardship and starvation. So Samhain was a time of both relief and anxiety. It was a moment to give thanks for the food that had been gathered, but also to look ahead with a certain amount of dread to the coming darkness and the lean times of winter. The rituals of Samhain were centered around this transition. Great bonfires were lit on hilltops, their flames thought to have protective and cleansing powers. People and their livestock would often walk between 2 large bonfires as a cleansing ritual, hoping to be purified and protected through the winter. These fires were also a symbol of the sun, a powerful plea to the light to return after the long, dark winter. It was a communal act of hope, a shared defiance against the encroaching cold and gloom. This ancient festival was not about worshiping demons or reveling in darkness for its own sake. It was a deeply spiritual and practical observance tied to the rhythms of nature. The Celts understood that darkness was a necessary part of the cycle, just as death was a necessary part of life. Samhain was their way of acknowledging this truth, of preparing themselves physically and spiritually for the challenges of winter. It was a time for taking stock, for community, and for honoring the forces of nature that govern their world. This foundation, built on the harvest and the changing of the seasons, is the very first stone in the path that leads to our modern Halloween. Section 2, A Night Between Worlds. The ancient Celts believed that the night of Samhain was a time of unique and powerful magic. It was a moment when the boundaries between our world and the other world became thin and porous. This other world was not a place of fire and brimstone like the Christian hell. It was the realm of the spirits, it was the realm of the fairies, it was the realm of the souls of the dead. On this one night, it was said that these spirits could pass through the veil and walk among the living. This belief wasn't necessarily born from terror, but from a sense of deep connection to the past and to the spiritual realm. It was a time when ancestors could revisit their old homes. To welcome these ancestral spirits, families would set a place for them at the dinner table and leave out offerings of food and drink. It was a gesture of hospitality and remembrance. This act of honoring the dead was a central part of the festival. It reinforced the idea that the community was not just made up of the living, but also included the spirits of those who came before. In a world without written histories, the stories and memories of ancestors were vital. Samhain was a night to feel their presence close once more, a comforting link between past and present. However, not all spirits that crossed over were considered friendly. The Celts also believed that mischievous or even malevolent fairies and sprites could cause trouble on this night. These beings might play tricks on humans, damage crops, or lead travelers astray. To protect themselves from these unwanted visitors, people began to wear costumes and masks. The idea was to disguise oneself as a fellow spirit, to blend in and avoid being singled out for mischief. This practice of guising is one of the clearest threads connecting Samhain to our modern Halloween. The act of dressing up, of becoming someone or something else for a night, has its roots in this ancient belief. It was a form of spiritual camouflage, a way to navigate a world that had temporarily become shared with beings from another realm. The Celts weren't trying to be scary just for fun. They were engaging in a ritual they believed was necessary for their safety and well-being. Section 3. The Roman Connection, Feralia, and Pomona. As the centuries passed, the Celtic lands did not remain isolated. Around 43 AD, the Roman Empire conquered much of the territory where the Celts lived. The Romans brought their own culture, the Romans brought their own gods, the Romans brought their own festivals. Over the course of their 400-year rule, Roman and Celtic traditions began to mingle and merge. The first of these Roman festivals was Feralia, which was held in late February. This was a day dedicated to honoring the spirits of the dead. Romans would visit the graves of their ancestors, leave offerings of flowers, grain, wine, and say prayers for the departed. It was a quiet, respectful day of remembrance. While the timing was different, the core concept, setting aside time to honor and appease spirits, was remarkably similar to the Celtic tradition. The second Roman festival that likely played a role was a celebration in honor of Pomona, the goddess of fruit and trees. Her symbol was the apple, a fruit that was also significant to the Celts and was harvested in the autumn. This may well be the origin of customs like bobbing for apples, a game that became a popular part of Halloween parties for centuries. This blending of traditions was a natural and common occurrence in the ancient world. The Romans didn't force the Celts to stop celebrating Samhain. Instead, their own similar festivals likely reinforced and subtly reshaped the existing Celtic practices. The Roman influence added the apple, a symbol of Pomona, to the mix of bonfires and spirits. It was another stream flowing into the growing river of tradition, slowly carving the path toward the holiday we now know. The core of Samhain remained, but it was now dressed in a few Roman robes. Section 4. A New Faith, an Old Tradition. The next great wave of change to wash over the Celtic lands came with the spread of Christianity. Beginning in the 4th century and into the 5th century, Christian missionaries worked to convert the pagan peoples of Europe. As the new faith took hold, it faced a significant challenge. What to do with the deeply ingrained pagan festivals like Samhain? Outright banning these celebrations was often difficult and could cause resentment among the newly converted. So the church often adopted a cleverer strategy, co-opting, rebranding, a process known as syncretism. Instead of trying to eliminate the old ways, the church overlaid them with new Christian meanings. If you can't beat them, join them, and then slowly change the name of the game. In the 7th century, Pope Boniface IV established All Saints' Day, a day to honor all the saints and martyrs, initially celebrated on May 13th. In the following century, Pope Gregory III moved the observance to November 1st. Many historians believe this was a deliberate attempt to offer a Christian alternative to Samhain. The day before All Saints' Day, October 31st, became All Hallows' Eve, the evening of Holy Ones. In the 10th century, the Church added All Souls' Day on November 2nd, a day to pray for the souls of all the dead, not just the saints. This created a 3-day period, All Hallows' Eve, All Saints' Day, All Souls' Day, mirroring Samhain. Section 5. The Naming of the Night. The name Halloween itself is a direct product of this Christian rebranding. In Old English, hallow means to make holy, or a holy person, or a saint. The evening before All Hallows' Day was All Hallows' Even. Over time, All Hallows' Even contracted into Halloween, and eventually, Halloween. The word itself is like a costume, a Christian name placed over a pagan soul, a disguise that has stuck for over 1,000 years. Section 6. The Weaving of Worlds. So, as we look back, we can see that Halloween was woven together from the threads of different cultures. The story begins with the Celtic festival of Samhain. Then came the Romans adding their own traditions. The most transformative influence, however, was the rise of Christianity. It also gave the holiday its modern name, Halloween, a contraction of All Hallows' Eve. By the end of the first millennium, the basic shape of Halloween was in place. It was a night for bonfires, costumes, a time to remember the dead, and a moment when the supernatural felt just a little bit closer. The stage was now set for the next act in its long and fascinating history, its journey across the ocean to a new world. Section 1. The Solars and the Mummers. One of the most significant developments during this time was the practice of souling. The poor would go from door to door, offering to say prayers for the dead in exchange for food, most often small, round cakes called soul cakes. Trick or treat. This practice of going from door to door, receiving treats in exchange for a performance, is a clear and direct ancestor of our modern trick-or-treating. Alongside souling, another tradition called mumming or guising also flourished. People would dress up and go from house to house, performing short plays, telling jokes, or singing songs in exchange for food and drink. Section 2. Crossing the Great Water. The holiday, as we might recognize it, was not widely celebrated in early colonial America. The stern Puritans of New England rejected such celebrations as papist superstitions. The great turning point for Halloween in America came in the mid-19th century with a massive wave of immigration, particularly from Ireland, driven by the Great Famine. They brought the practice of guising, the carving of vegetables into lanterns, and the tradition of playing pranks on Halloween night. In Ireland, they had carved turnips and potatoes, but in America, they discovered a new, larger, and much softer vegetable that was perfect for carving: the pumpkin. The jack-o'-lantern, an iconic symbol of American Halloween, was thus born. As the 19th century progressed into the 20th, Halloween in America began to shed its spiritual skin, becoming a more secular, community-focused holiday, framed as wholesome fun for children and families. The tradition of playing pranks escalated into vandalism. This destructive trick side of the holiday became a serious problem, and there was a growing movement to find a way to control it. The solution was organized community events. Civic groups and schools began to organize Halloween parades, costume contests, and large public parties to channel the restless energy of young people.
Trick or treat. At the same time, the practice of going door to door and asking for treats was actively encouraged as a way to replace the trick with a bribe. The implicit deal was clear. Give us a treat, and we won't play a trick on you.
By the second half of the 20th century, Halloween had cemented its place as a major American cultural and commercial event. Candy companies and costume manufacturers recognized the enormous commercial potential, turning it into one of the biggest retail seasons of the year, second only to Christmas. Alongside this commercial growth, another trend emerged: the rise of Halloween as an adult holiday. In recent decades, this has been joined by the explosive growth of the haunted attraction industry. These attractions tap directly into the holiday's spooky roots, providing a safe environment to experience the thrill of being scared. Let's begin with one of the most persistent and frightening myths surrounding Halloween: the idea that strangers intentionally put poison or razor blades into candy to harm children. This fear spikes every October, leads parents to meticulously inspect their children's loot, and has even caused communities to cancel trick-or-treating. The truth is, there has never been a single confirmed case of a child killed or seriously injured by randomly contaminated Halloween candy. The stories are almost always hoaxes, misunderstandings, or rarely cases where a family member was responsible and blamed a stranger. The Halloween sadist is basically an urban legend, a modern boogeyman born from media hype and societal anxiety. Another dark myth that clings to Halloween like a shadow is the claim that the holiday is an ancient satanic festival. This belief gained traction during the satanic panic of the 1980s and 1990s, a period of moral hysteria. During this time, some fundamentalist Christian groups began to actively campaign against Halloween, branding it as Hell's Holiday. This myth is fundamentally untrue. The Celts were not Satanists. Their belief system predated the Christian concept of Satan by many centuries. Despite the lack of evidence, the myth has had a lasting impact. It's the reason some churches host harvest festivals or trunk-or-treat events as a safe alternative. The truth is much simpler. Halloween is a cultural festival, not a religious one, and certainly not a celebration of evil. Now, let's turn our attention from myths to a question of civic pride and historical bragging rights. Several towns across the United States lay claim to a special connection with Halloween, but one of the boldest claims comes from the small city of Anoka, Minnesota. The basis for Anoka's claim is a historical one. They assert that they were the very first city in the United States to hold a large, organized citywide celebration to discourage pranks and vandalism. Over the decades, Anoka's celebration grew, adding events like the Light Up the Night Parade, the Grand Day Parade, and the Gray Ghost 5-kilometer run. In 1937, Harold Sponky traveled to Washington, D.C., where he was introduced as being from the Halloween capital of the world. The moniker stuck. So, can we declare Anoka the undisputed Halloween capital of the world? The answer is a little complicated. Anoka's claim represents a pivotal moment in the holiday's American evolution. It is the capital of the modern, organized American Halloween. However, if we are talking about the spiritual and ancestral home of Halloween, the crown must surely belong to Ireland. Comparing Anoka to places like Salem or Sleepy Hollow is also telling. Salem's fame is built on dark tourism, while Sleepy Hollow offers a literary fantasy. Ultimately, it may be best to think of them as different kinds of capitals. Ireland is the historical capital, the ancient heartland. Anoka, Minnesota, is the civic capital, the birthplace of the organized, family-friendly community celebration. Our journey has brought us from the ancient past right up to our own front door. We started in the misty hills of Ireland, watched as the Romans and then Christianity added new layers, and followed the Great Migration across the ocean. From a Celtic fire to a porchlight's glow, Halloween's story is one of change and adaptation, becoming something richer and more complex with every passing generation. So why, after all this time, does Halloween endure? I believe it's because it is a night of temporary, joyful rebellion. We dress up as monsters, we let our children walk through the dark, we decorate our homes with symbols of the supernatural. It's a safe and communal way to confront our fears and to laugh at the darkness. For those wanting the most potent magic, the world offers some wonderful choices. Journey to Ireland, visit Anoka, Minnesota, walk the historic streets of Salem, or lose yourself in Sleepy Hollow. But you don't need to travel at all. Its magic is local. The glowing smile of a pumpkin you carved yourself, the rustle of leaves as trick-or-treaters make their way up your driveway, the shared laughter of a ghost story told among friends. It belongs to the neighborhood, the community. It's a night for connection, to see familiar faces in a new, playful light. Halloween is a celebration of imagination, a chance to be someone else for a night, when the line between everyday and extraordinary blurs. It's a single night of fantasy, a shared dream we all agree to have together. A tradition worth keeping for another 2,000 years. It's a bit of magic we all get to share, and that's the simplest truth of all.